What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Fab, Freddie Fox, America's Big Brother, and we back with the Saturday Night Sit Down. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Fab, Freddie Fox, America's Big Brother, and this is the Saturday Night Sit Down. And in just a moment, I'll be sitting down with the one and only Mr. Shawn Lovins. Hey, how are you, man? How are you?
What's going on, brother Freddie? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I'm blessed. Man. I'm truly honored, man, that you're on my show, man. I appreciate that, man.
Man, hey, I appreciate you having me on, brother. I appreciate you reaching out and appreciate you loving what I'm doing right now with these kids, man. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. I seen that video because like I would give it to everybody, man. My whole point with this show, right, is I'm looking to reach out the younger generation. You know what I mean? Like me for myself growing up, I know I struggled a lot trying to find my way into manhood, trying to become an adult and find my place in this world, you know. And then when I had my little boy too, I was looking at him and seeing, he's going to be going through these things, and I want to do whatever I can to help him. But also, there's so many other young kids that are going through what we're going through, and a lot of them too. Like I through a lot of my friends, they don't have their father wasn't in their life for one reason or the other. You know what I mean? They're either in prison, they passed away, they just walked out. So many different reasons on why they weren't around. So it's just like by sitting down with men like you and other different men who have been through things, you provide a real positive role model on what it takes and, the struggles that we go through to help guide them down the right path,
Right, absolutely, brother. Hey, you're not alone. I know, we'll get to that a little bit. I'll dive in a little bit later, but I feel exactly what you're saying. And teaching the kids in the public school sector, man, a lot of my kids are just like us, man. They face those same issues, dads not being in the home, and that leadership, man, that male leadership is important.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. So yeah, I mean, I was going through, and again, I guess based on the whole algorithm thing and what I'm looking at, I came across your video with you and a young man coming into the classroom all dressed up really nice and really sent a statement, man. I thought that was just such a beautiful thing for somebody for me to see. I mean, I think that's something that we need to promote and really get more people to see and involved in. So reaching out to you, and I know like that video blew up and you got a lot of things. So I'm truly honored you taking the time to sit with me and be a part of my show, man.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Looking forward.
So for starters, like I always ask everybody, man, my very first question to you is looking into what the characteristics and qualities of what it takes to be a good man. What do you think those are?
Well, that's a really good question. And I'm going to lead with the one thing that I thought was real sexy as I got a little older, and it's being a gentleman. Being a gentleman, and then understanding about how to be faithful, having integrity, being honest, self-confidence, and most important to me is good manners, man. And that's what I teach these young boys and girls. I teach girls as well on just having good manners. So that's my little quick little list of those important things right there.
And I feel that, I have two kids of my own, right? My daughter's 6, and my son's about to be 3 in April. And that is actually one of the best compliments I got. And, when she goes to school, sometimes I go pick her up, and they're like, she has such great manners. She's so polite and so courteous. And it's something that, I take pride in. We really try to teach her please and thank you, how to be rude, to really love everybody, because that's what I want to show. Like, I love everybody, I love people, and I think that's the only way that we can make this world as a better place is by injecting it with more and more love, and seeing that carry on through my daughter and definitely through my son, because I'm gonna push it on him as well, is just helping make this world a better place.
Right. No, absolutely, man. I agree.
You
I
know,
agree
and
wholeheartedly.
And another part of that, as far as those characteristics, like you said, being a gentleman, having good manners and stuff like that, we have to pair them up with also having really strong morals and important morals in our life, right? Things that we hold near and dear to our heart and that we stick to no matter what. So for you, what are some of your key morals?
Well, one of the things is, always tell the truth, man. I mean, because when you got to make up lies, lies have to continue to, build upon the next lie. And, so that's one of my real important morals. Just tell the truth. Treat others how you want to be treated. That's another very important one for me. And keeping your promises. Now, I know a lot of us out there had, let's talk about those daddy issues just for a second. Yeah, boy, I'm gonna come pick you up, or I'm gonna come. And then it's that whole age old. You see it in movies and in books or whatever. You sitting on the stoop, and you like,
Hmm.
dang, dude ain't come. He ain't called. He forgot about me. So uh, definitely keeping your promise and being dependable, man. Those are morals. Just a few of them. I mean, there's a longer list, but right now, I mean, those are some of the ones that I really harp on and teach my own kids the same thing.
And I think you touched on that. That's really important. Like you said, a lot of us, we've seen that story. The kids just wait on these two for their dad to show up, and they're not being there. And I said that recently too. I know it's terrifying being a parent. It is,
Oh,
and even for myself, like I'm so scared that, I might make the wrong mistake or do something that's gonna hurt them, or you know what I mean, like or not do enough of something, and it's just you always kind of playing that guilt card on yourself, like am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? But like you said, just being there is a huge, huge thing. You showing them your face, being there every single day that you trying, that you working, you're not getting it right, but you're there. Because like I said in this other great interview, what I'm saying? Like our kids, they're not going to remember all the times that we've been there, but they'll never
mhm.
forget the times we weren't.
Yeah,
You,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? And that's what really stings, and that leaves that negative impact that may cause them to do the same to their kids, or at what I've seen in a lot of cases, though, with a lot of men that I've been talking to recently, it kind of does the opposite. That when they have their own kids, they overcompensate and they try to beat it no matter what because they know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? Sitting on that stoop waiting for somebody who's never gonna come.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's one of the things with that, man, is just communicate. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I mean, it costs nothing to communicate and let your child know, hey, dad's not going to make it this time. I look, I had a star athlete daughter, she played ball since she was 5 years old. I coached her until she got into middle school and then through high school, state champion, and I played ball. I gave up on it because it was like nobody was there to support me. It's amazing when you tell these stories to people, and it's like I say the same thing, I feel like over and over, but it's a fact. I gave up on ball because I look up in the stands, I see all the other parents hugging on their kids. I ain't get that. I ain't know what that felt like. You know what I'm saying? So I always said to myself, even as a youngster, I was like, you know what? If I ever have a kid, my child would never go through that. My story is real deep. Hell, I was homeless for 4 years.
Mm.
Bouncing around the city. When I separated from my wife and later divorced, I didn't have family here in Atlanta. I was, they were my family, and to go through such a hardship, I had an offer to go to LA and run a magazine because my background was in publishing and be a part of that movement. But it was like, okay, I never wanted my daughter to call or say, Dad, I have a father-daughter dance and I couldn't make it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That broke my heart. You say, well, I just go with my uncle, and great dude, but at the end of the day, that ain't your daddy. I'm your daddy. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I had friends that let me use a car when I didn't have a car, all those kind of things, man. It's very important to make sure that we are in our kids' lives because I never forget my daughter wrote a Father's Day card. I think she was like about maybe 15 or 16. And it set me free because she said in that card about how important it was that I was there. And that was my promise to God is that, I will stand. I don't care what I'm going through. I'm not leaving my daughter so she can feel what it's like to see both of her parents at her games, her accomplishments, and all those kind of things. Graduation, just graduated from Jackson State University. I am an alum of Jackson State as well, and so just to see that and know that I fulfill part of my promise to God is that I'll stand for this. I go through hell for that one. And I did. But at the end of the day, man, to see her walk across that stage was a huge accomplishment for her and me, for that matter.
Yeah, no, and it's great that she followed in your footsteps. You know what I mean? Like you've been an alum at Jackson University, now she's graduating there too. Because I made it recently a couple years ago, right? I was laid off from my job, and it was a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean? It was cursed because my daughter was just turning one, and I didn't have no ways of providing for her. You know what I mean? Like, and I just felt like a failure. But through the best lessons that happened, I was able to go back to school, and graduate with a degree. I didn't have to pay for any of my books, no tuition, nothing. Everything was paid for. So my main goal was like, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do because whether she chooses to go to college or not, like I want her to show that it's possible. So if I was determined to get that degree, so I was like, I want my kid to see me walk that stage so that she can see it is possible. Daddy did it, so why can't I? So it's definitely those examples.
No, I told my daughter that too when she went away. When she was her at her graduation party, we had a little time away by the lake, and and I was just like, look at what you are going to do is finish. You're going to complete the task. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I said to her when she walked. I was like, you completed the assignment, baby. I just wanted to make sure you got through that. It did some heck of accomplishments, man. I mean, Miss Freshman, her freshman year, and being a part of the SGA and things like that. Those are things that I did, and I told her about that, and she carved her own path. Pledging, Delta Sigma Theta to all the Deltas out there. Happy anniversary and all that. J13. But anyway, I mean, 'cause I was proud of her. She carved her own path, and I loved every bit of her journey. It was some hardships there too. As a parent, I'm telling you, it's scary as hell when your kids go away and you can't touch them. You know what I'm saying? It's just a phone call if they're out of state. So we had a few little bumps in the road, but she's a survivor, man. That thing is a fighter, and I love her to death. And so absolutely, bro. I feel you on being afraid as a parent, but yeah, we're gonna make mistakes, man. We're gonna make mistakes all our lives, man. We're gonna tell them things that we think is right, but really isn't right. But it's all a part of the learning experience.
And it was crazy too, because it wasn't until growing up, I had a lot of things that my parents did and didn't do, whatever, that made me feel some sort of way. And it wasn't until I became a parent that I started to realize that they're learning as we're growing. Like, they don't got this figured out. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
We get that figured out, we switch up on them. You know what I mean? Like, I throw them a curveball, So I had a new appreciation for that and understanding, of the mistakes that they made, and knowing that it's not because they were trying to be harmful or like that. They just trying to figure it out like everybody else.
Absolutely. As I say, so it's a learning curve, man. If you got for lack of better terms, you got a bad child and you go, okay, well, where this child come from? I wasn't like this, but I mean, they're cut different, but we still got to guide and lead them. And most of all, man, you got to pray over them, man. I do. And God has been a true force in my life to make sure that I honored my promise to him and her, and he honored his to me, because the fruits of my labor, man, is all coming forth now. I'm sitting here like, wow. The post, I mean, it was like, went viral. It was like 466,000 people now. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Now, I wish all 466,000 people bought that book. Here nor there, man, I'm appreciative of the love that I'm getting from that. And hey, man, me teaching these kids is just, it's my way of giving back, and it just feels good. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely. And speaking about, like, our parents, and as they went up and how they're carving the path and teaching you and leaving imprints for you, what was your relationship with your dad like?
Man, my relationship with my father, it was estranged. So, it's one of those things that for me was like breaking a cycle, because he wasn't there. He wasn't at anything. I can't name one thing I can say, yeah, my dad was at my high school graduation, my college graduation, or, I ain't here to shit on him, to be quite honest, excuse my French, but because I forgave him, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Because one of my biggest things that, dude, you got a granddaughter that's 22 years old and you've never met her. At what point do you grow up? You have an opportunity. I'm not gonna hold you from it as long as you don't lie to her. Like I told you, don't be the stoop killer where I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and you're gonna call me when you get here. I'll pick you up and we can all get together and meet, because I'll make sure that meeting happens. But at what point do you want to? So that's relationship wasn't really that great, man. But it taught me to be a better father and be intentional with my daughter and make sure that both of my girls got the love they deserved and needed.
No, that's beautiful, and I guess it's like you said there too, just being through that and not want to be there for your daughters. You know what I mean? Like not cause the same mistakes and be at all their events because. And I said this too, you know, my dad was in the house. He was home, you know, and I was grateful for that, you know, because I know a lot of my friends didn't have that. You know, he would come over and hang out and he would treat them like their own. But I also felt kind of like amiss too because, you know, I was in drama growing up in choir class and you know and all those things, and he never came to any of those events. You know, none of those graduations, none of the choirs, none of those things. You know, I mean, like I knew I relied on my mom, and it got to a certain point where again, like I didn't expect it from him either. You know, because I knew it wasn't going to happen, so I wasn't going to set myself up for that disappointment. And I was grateful that my mom and my sister would always be there for me, supporting me.
No doubt.
You know, and when I graduated high school, I gave him more of a pass on that one because my grandfather, his dad just passed away. So he was out in Puerto Rico over there, you know. But at that point, you know, I mean, I put on one of his shirts, you know, for my graduation, thing like that, you know, to have him close with me, even though it didn't fit, but I needed my dad there somehow, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
man. Yeah, you're
so
right.
so so that was what I posted there. But what I did do though, when I got married, you know, and I proposed to my wife and stuff, and I sat him down, I said, Pops, I forgive you for all those other things. You know what I mean? Like I know how you are, you're not gonna be there and stuff like that. That's cool. But if you're not at my wedding, we gonna have a problem.
Bro, let me stop you right there. I did the same dang on thing, man. My father, he was supposed to be, he was in the wedding. I allowed him, I wanted him to be a part of it, stand on my side with the rest of my boys. And my father didn't go with the rest of the fellas to go get their tux. You come marching down the aisle without being here next to me. It's like you had every opportunity to do this right and you still messed that up too. So I understand that. Like I was trying to make my own personal amends by saying, hey man, stand on my side, be there with me. You're sitting over there with my mother. You're supposed to be here. So again, you chose and made a choice because you wanted me to take you to go get it when I couldn't do that. I needed you to go with the rest of the fellas. You know what I'm saying? There was a reason why that was set up, not us going as an experience together. I know that would have been great, but hell, I was working. So I couldn't go. But yeah, man, I feel you on that. And yeah, forgiveness is everything. I'm good.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I forgave him. I don't harbor any more bad feelings. It's just like, you know, I'm grown now. I've chosen, you know, don't get me wrong, it's still a smidgen of hurt that's there
Absolutely,
because you're
absolutely.
human. You know, you want your parents to still experience some of the things that I see other parents, man. I sit in other people's homes and I'm like, damn, I ain't never felt that before.
Right,
That's
right.
some good stuff right there. But let me tell you, man, Bill Cosby was my dad. He was my father. I ain't gonna lie. I used to lie to women and say my dad was a doctor. I was Theo in the Cosby Show, dog. I was dyslexic. I was him. I had style, swag. Everybody knew me and liked me and all that. I was Theo, and Bill was in my head, my daddy. So I used to lie to women that my father was a doctor. I said, make it up, man. And I mean, it was crazy until I got married, and I had to tell the truth to my wife. I had to, you know, let her know that I made that up. That was all for me to build up my self-esteem because I was broken. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
So, but yeah, that was a crazy time in my life when I had to do that too, bro.
Yeah, no, and it's funny that you say that too because that's how I felt too. Like I watched a lot of sitcoms growing up. You know what I mean? Uncle Phil, Carl Winslow, you know, Mr. Feeney, all these things, and all those guys that I seen, and I created the image of what my perfect dad would have been like. You know, and
Yeah.
then it kind of was. It built like a little bit more of tension because I was looking. I'm like, look at all these dudes on TVs, like being there for their kids, and you can't do that for me. Like I'm seeing this 24/7 all day long, and you're not stepping up. You know, but it goes back to that, like you said, you know, it's important for us ourselves to give that forgiveness, to get that
Yeah.
off our chest, not to carry that weight anymore, because
Oh,
you know it's so dangerous. Like a lot of people hold that blame, and it's so toxic to yourself and damaging. And if you don't let it go, man, you can't really function properly. You know.
absolutely. That's right. Yeah.
You know, so now, like you said, you have two girls, right? We were talking before, and you know, being everything that you experienced and raising your girls, what was something that you wanted to instill in them that they carried on that was important for you?
Well, integrity is everything to me. Like, you know, I won't let anybody, you know, damage that, you know, because I know I'm a good guy. I ain't in your business. I don't care about it. But being a good person, respect yourself and others. But one of the most important things, be a freaking lady. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I mean, that's important because, I mean, you know, hopefully there is a person that will respect you. There's still some idiots out there, but being a lady causes you to move a certain way
Hmm.
and to recognize things, because I had to put my daughter up on game based off of who I was. I was off the chain as a young guy. You know what I'm saying? So I had to put her up on that game. This is what I'm telling you. Dude doing this, let me tell you, this is what he's really doing, baby. You know what I'm saying? Because your daddy was off the chain growing up as a youngster, and I grew up fast. I was drinking in middle school, smoking in high school and college, you know what I'm saying? But all those things, man, I don't do anymore. I may have occasional, cocktail, but to teach my girls that was important. Now, my oldest daughter is my stepdaughter, which is still my daughter.
Right,
When I
right.
separated from her mom, we got a little estranged for a second. And then she recognized the consistency that I had with my daughter, and they're 10 years apart, by the way. And she kind of came back around and made me the happiest dude in the world, because she taught me how to be a father, because I was her father first. So to put all that in her, and then to break her heart when I separated from her mom and later divorced, I lost that relationship for a while, and that part broke me. Now we're great, you know what I'm saying? And I'm totally complete, because yes, I put a ring on her finger too. When I married her mom, I put a ring on her finger as well.
Right.
So it was one of those things that, it was important to me that she understood what a man looked like and how a man moved. And she even said that later, is that she was like, man, I miss not getting that from you. But now we're back, man. We're back on track.
No, that's a beautiful thing, man. I'm glad to hear that. I know and it's important to you know let them know that it's because they're not together, things didn't work out. Like it got nothing to do with the kids, and I've learned that from my mom because a lot of people notice about me, but I got a brother, right? He's a middle child. He got a different mom though.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom never treated him any different. You know what I mean? Like anytime she introduced him, that's my son. These are my kids. There was
Yep.
no my husband's thing or anything like that. There was no separation. So I was blessed that my mom took the high road in that situation.
Right.
And every time we seen her, like when we go to Puerto Rico, because lived out there with his mom, and they would, she would go to her house and pick him up. I never seen any tension, never any argument, no hatred, nothing, no remorse at all. It was completely cordial. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they weren't the best of friends, but they respected each other enough. And at least for us, as the kids, we didn't see any of that. The behind the scenes, all we just seen was a loving family, people that respected each other and going on. And that was so important to all of us. And I commend my mom for being that kind of woman and showing me that, as growing up, that what's really important.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Kudos to moms too, man, because that's important, man. No kid wants to feel like they're an outsider when they're a part of your life.
Right.
So, I mean, we have to, it's the same way like that with my students, man. I tell you, I know I'm gonna jump on this for a second. There was a young man that came to my classroom, and he just wanted to talk about some things, and just to speed this up, I told him in the conversation, I said, I love you, son. You know what I'm saying? I see great things in you. Man, that man, brother, your boy broke down crying, man, because he ain't never heard another man tell him he loved him. So,
Hmm.
people don't understand how important it is. We got to be careful how we handle kids, but, because there's some fools out there. But for the most part, man, I'm hard on these kids, but I love hard on them too. I make sure they understand that I am that person that they can come to, and to be doing this for like 18 years, man, and watch kids I know from kindergarten who are grown people with little babies and families now. It was amazing. But to watch them grow through the pains that they went through, dad's in jail, I had to deal with situations with that. And it's man, being a teacher, man, folks don't understand that we get a bad rap sometimes because of how we have to handle situations. Is that we ain't, some of us, I can't speak for everyone. I'm not here to hurt your child. I'm here to breathe life into them, even when you're not doing it. Because I know some of the parents I deal with, they ain't doing that. Them kids are hurting. And I try to do my best to make sure I breathe life into these kids, man, and guide them and show them that there's people out here that will care for you. I mentor all of them. If they all wanted me, some of them still have my phone number, man. I mean, when they get older, I got them, whatever I can do.
And then that's bold, man. And I commend teachers so much, just growing up because I know how important they were to me. I mean, the connections that I had with some of my teachers, but then also, you know, going in and through this whole pandemic, trying to be a homeschool parent, you know, and teaching them and the amount of patience, even with my own child is just, and then I look at it, I'm like, these teachers got to do it with like 20 some odd kids, you know, and trying to educate them and guide them. That's just a whole level of respect. And for you, my question is like, I mean, what drove you to become a teacher? Was it something that you wanted to do? Or it kind of led into like, how did that come apart, come to be?
Man, let me tell you. Again, remember I shared with you I was homeless,
Mm-hmm.
and being that my background, I was working for a publication, Upscale magazine at the time, and you know when I went through a separation, I lost my job. I mean, I lost everything, bro. I mean, it's like everything just came down on me, and you know, had a degree, you know, but I was working in my field. I was working in corporate and advertising for the company and loving my job. And I just couldn't help that it ended. But um, you know, it was just one of those things that I was just like, wow, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. And then a friend of mine, I sit on the board for this nonprofit, and she was just like, man, look, call this guy. And so I started substitute teaching and saved my life, man. And it was consistency for me because I was good at it, and I started to really like it, and so I just kept on doing it. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna teach to my daughter graduate from college. And like I shared earlier, she just graduated December the 10th of 2020, and this is it for me because I want to do it my way now. You know what I'm saying? I stuck to the plan. I said I'm going to do this until she graduates from college, and so I can have a little bit more stability and just understanding that it'll ground me, humbling myself with, you know, staying in a 1 bedroom apartment, driving a used car, not a new car. You know, I had plans, and I didn't want that to deviate. I didn't want to deviate from that by flossing, and I got to look like, I don't care what you think. She is my main purpose and goal, to be like, okay, she's good, we're good. You know, it wasn't always the best, but we made it through, man, and she accomplished her goal. I'm good. So now I'm in a great situation, putting this book out. I got other things on the rise, man. It's just a beautiful thing to know that, again, I stood. I stood.
No, definitely. And I think it just goes back to man, the Lord works in mysterious ways, man.
Absolutely.
And it's so crazy because you know, like you said, you know, you ended up being homeless and all those things, and it put you in a really tough situation, but it
Mm-hmm.
puts you in a better situation, what you need to do. You know, ended up being a teacher, and everything that's been opened up to you with everything that's coming along, and with the book and you know, your programs and everything. And I can understand that too, because that's how I felt too when I lost my job at this company. Like I just thought like it was over. But as I started seeing, like again, being the opportunity to go to school, you know, having my son, starting his podcast, getting out there, like all these things will really help to get my mind ready for what I'm really destined to do. And this is what I feel is it. You know what I mean? Like this is where I'm supposed to be. So I think I'm so grateful for those hard times because they help make me who I am and everything that's going on. And for you, it helped you build you. And now you started the art etiquette. Now, how did that come to be? And was that something that was in your mind, or was that also just
And teaching wasn't in my mind, brother. So you know, that wasn't either. But because I was an artist, like, you know, there's a piece behind me right now. It's a drawing that I did. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it's a picture of me with a tie on, and I put the photos in a tie, and that tie is called "Tied to My Daddy." That's all pictures of my daughters in the tie of a
Mhm.
photo. But you know, being an artist, I was teaching art, and it was like, okay, the first year at this one school, the new school that I'm at now, I've been there for 5 years. The other one was like 14 or so. So this is my 19th year. So was sitting in the classroom first year, and you know, Thanksgiving time. So I was like, you know what, we're going to do place settings where you guys can take this home and set it on your table and set the table when you get at home, and you can decorate it any way you want, you know, be creative. And so the second year I was looking at them like, man, it's a business. Wait a minute, I could turn this into something. So I got to tell my kids all the time, y'all encourage this. I didn't just come up with this. I looked at you and I saw opportunity and to be able to build something that was positive, something that my grandmother taught me. So my grandmother taught me about setting the table. That's what my book is about, and I'll get into that in a second. But you know, to watch these kids do that, then I said, you know what, let me go a step further. Let me teach you all how to set the table. So I brought my own stuff in, and it's like, okay. So I basically, the sum of all this stuff is I took art and I took etiquette and I brought it together, because the kids don't really have the mindset to sit there for hours or an hour or so and learn about etiquette, because it's going to be boring to them. So I kind of bring art into it to make it fun and make it, you know, a little bit more, you know, to the point where they can actually remember things, because using art along with it causes them to remember where the fork goes, where the knife goes, where the spoon, the cup and glass, all that kind of stuff. So that's why I came up with that. And then I just took it a step further and created after school programs. And, you know, as a black man, I did the research. I haven't found another brother. If somebody do, tell me, because I love to meet them. Another black man out there teaching kids about etiquette and manners. You know, we can mentor kids and tell them what not to do, you know, tell them the angst of life. And no, I teach them how to have poise, have grace, how to be a gentleman, how to be a lady. I raised two. I got one. So I can do that too. I know what I like in a woman, you know, and if you don't have that level of respect for yourself, that ain't who I want. So I teach my boys the same thing about opening the door for the girls and putting out the chair for girls and things like that. I teach them that, to do it for their mothers and their sisters really first, because I teach elementary level kids. But they have fun with it, man. In all honesty, they really actually enjoy it. You know, they go, oh, man, I don't want to do this, Mr. Love. But when they start doing it, man, and the girls go, thank you, and I teach them that, and then they push it. So it becomes this whole thing, man. Just expose them. You know, I ain't saying you got to wear suits every day. I do. I love suits. Hey, I'm sitting up in here right now in a blazer and my brand of my book right there. Matter of fact, you know, always about
there you go.
of my book, you know, but it's still, for me, it's about having that style and grace. I sound like Biggie, but that's that thing that I try to project, but I also allow them to be themselves. And I say that I had some people, man, on one of these posts that went viral. Brother said, he was like, man, you teach them how to be pimps and players. I'm like, are you serious? And then I had another brother say that, man, Bill Gates and Elon Musk don't wear suits. I'm saying, fool, yes, they do. They had to. And if they did it in the beginning. You know, you can create who you're going to be, and as successful as you are, you can wear sweats and a T-shirt and a hat. If you're that successful, check out Russell Simmons. He stayed true to the hip-hop culture. But for the most part, teaching them how to have the manners to get through the front door, to get to the elevator, saying good morning and good afternoon to the security guard. But when you come in with that white tee and those sagging pants, excuse me, son, where you trying to go? No, I at least want to get you to the elevator, young brother, to get up the stairs, to get to who you're trying to get to, because they're going to stop you looking a certain way. In most cases, not all. I'm not going to say, but in most cases.
Yeah, no,
so
definitely.
It started based off of me observing the kids and seeing something incredibly special, because I got to share my grandmother with my kids by doing just that. So my book is a legacy book, because every utensil and place setting is a family member in the book, and I tell that story through that.
And that's a beautiful thing, because I think, like we said, we had a phone call a couple of days ago, and yeah, told me that story about the young man trying to, get to the elevator, which I thought was very, very important, and they need to understand that too, because you know, you're not trying to sit there and be somebody else, but you got to understand how to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, we know what the rules are. Just know how to play the game so that you can be successful. And then at that point, you can create your own rules. You know what I mean? But you can't get a seat at the table. You got to get a seat at the table first. You got to get into the game first.
Yep. And I say that people ask me about dressing and everything. It's like, when you understand the rule, you can break the rule a little bit. You can deviate from the rule, but as long as you honor the rule, you can kind of do some things that are a little different, but you have to position yourself. I mean, look at Jay-Z. I mean, hey, you look at him, like, brother, the crazy as heck with that hairstyle, but that's his. Jay just like, I don't care. I am him. And I can do that, and I'm like, brother, I got mad love and respect for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Jay fan all day. And, I appreciate that about him, is that, he spits the knowledge, but, I'm saying, I enjoy giving it back to the kids, man, because You can put them up on game young, man, and to see them move a certain way, bro. I'm telling you, when I put them jackets on them boys, man, you can say what you want, but they stand up straight. They
Yes.
got certain swag. Like in the video, if you watch, a couple of them got the coolest little walks, and I'm like, you know, and I hear them talk because I raised money and I got donations for the Blazers and suit. I got suits, all kind of stuff, man. Shoes, belts. I went out to the Goodwills and bought all kind of stuff for all these kids because I'm still not done. That's just a go to the what's about the prelude to what's about to go on. So it's more to come, but that was just a prelude, bro. So trust me, when I get ready to drop what they're about to look like and do, it's gonna be amazing. But I appreciate the donations of those people because they got an opportunity to see a little bit of what I'm trying to do and the confidence that I'm instilling in these young boys. My girls in my school mad at me right now because I ain't doing it for them. You know what I'm saying? So right now, I'm telling them, I got to take care of them so they can later take care of you. You got to understand that. You have a son, you got to understand that's one of the things, man. You got to make sure he's good so that he understands how to take care of that young lady because our community is so broken and backwards right now. You know, I was raised by women, you know, so there were certain things that I allow myself not to do as a man that I later had to figure out. That's the whole learning thing, you know, we have to go through is that those women in my life were doing the work. And I was sitting there like, so is this what women are supposed to do? That's what you're seeing. So that's kind of like, if you haven't been taught that or seen it, that's what you continue to do. Allow women to do the work. No, you can't. You know, we got to be the man of the house.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I was at that too, man. I was raised by majority women. Like I said, my dad was in the house, but my mom was always there, the one really taking care of me and influenced me, and along with my sister. But also, you know, like my home, and you know, my family's from Puerto Rico. All right, I'm
Yeah.
really well, not even. I mean, my daughter's like the first generation born because I was even born in Puerto Rico. I was born there, but they brought me here 20 days later. So my
Okay.
daughter's really the first generation here, from
That's
my
what's
side. But you know, when we were here, my house was like I used to just kind of call it the Underground Railroad breaking point because they would come from Puerto Rico and come to our house and get themselves settled before they can go out and do their thing. So I used to have my house full of all my cousins, and the majority is all women. You know, I had about 7 women at one time living in my house. You know what I
wow.
mean? In a 2 bedroom apartment, you know what I mean? There's 7 women in there. So you know what I mean? Like it's just
Man.
so much influence, you know, but
Right.
they instilled me a lot on, you know, how to treat a woman right, you know, what they like, what they don't like, the do's and don'ts and stuff. And I wasn't I mean, when I was subjected to, you know, these music videos of them playing women and, you know, pimps and hoes and all that stuff or whatever, they educate like that's not how a woman's supposed to be or how they're supposed to act, you know what I mean? And that's kind of what I seen like with my wife, you know, and I get to that because, you know, I've seen that and I seen the type of girls that I was into before, you know, and I met my wife in high school and I approached her and I knew something that made me want to talk to her. But I also knew off the instance from like her aura and her vibe that she's not the one to be playing those games with either. You know what I mean? Like it was a whole different type of level of respect that she demanded from her presence. And also seeing how independent she was, you know, was also something that was just super attractive to me. You know, and that's the type of woman that, and that's what I said too. Like that's the kind of woman that I want to be around my daughter because that's how I want her to carry herself, not to be played by these dudes or good quality straps. Because I've seen that, and I know again, like you know, the girls who don't have a strong male role model in their life, they come subject to these daddy issues that lead them to poor decisions in the future. You know,
Yeah,
because they
that's it.
didn't have that strong man in their life. You know.
Yeah, man, no, I agree, man. And I don't knock people for what they do, but it's just things that I see, like social media especially. I'm like, man, you know, I'm a man's man, and you know, but at the end of the day, I'll be like, sister, you ain't got to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it doesn't work for me. I like a woman, I like a lady that's a lady. You know what I'm saying? You know, all that putting it out there. I mean, that's do you. That does. At the end of the day, I get to make the decision on who I want. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But for my daughter, that was one of the things that I always instilled in her. But then my oldest is like she was 10 years older, so she's always kind of been on a straight and narrow. But my youngest, I was like, you know what? You about to go to college, and guys about to come at you a certain way, you ain't got to look a certain way to appease them. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody to be attracted to you because of who you are and your mindset, not your assets. You know what I'm saying? And the assets of the physical, but more so, I need you to understand that the biggest asset is the mental. And, you know, that's the most important thing for me. And she'll tell you that all day. I said, don't you go down there and mess up my name. Don't
Yeah,
you mess
no,
up
no.
my name down there.
No, definitely, and this is running back to, like I said, the young men that you're helping out in your class stuff like that, and seeing that. Number one, man, I know you say you're still taking donations and stuff. So people who do want to help or get involved with that, how can they help you or get things to you? Like, where can they go? How do they go about that?
Well, this right now, I'm telling people because I have actually enough. I don't need any more clothes, and I don't want the money. But I'm creating a program for the book. So, like, if you buy a book, you buy one book on my site, I'll give another book to a kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you know, you buy, I give type situation. So you can go to my site, buy my book, and that's you buy one, you get that one, and I give one away to a deserving kid. Right now, there's a lot of them at my school that want it, but they can't afford it. So, and you can go, and if you buy from my site, I can do that. But if, you know, I also want you to be able to, you know, if you don't want to, you can go on Amazon. I am there now too, and you can purchase it. But that program is not the same from Amazon, and then I give a book because of how it's set up. That with you purchasing your book through Amazon and so forth, but through me, my site, because I get them printed, and then I'm able to, you know, take that and give it to a kid. So right now I'm doing that until the fall kicks back in, and I'll start back up the program again with suiting up the kids and things like that. You know, so I don't want to just say, hey, send me your money, and I know, just, you know, buy the book, support that.
So, well, what's your site? What's the name of your site where they can go?
It's the name of the book. Mind Your Manners with MrLovins.com is the website. So you can go in and check that out. You can read a little bit more about what I'm doing and see some of the kids that I impact on the site. So again, it's Mind Your Manners with MrLovins.com. And on all social media, I am on Facebook. I think that page is full, but the Art of Etiquette is the name of my company. The Art of Etiquette on Facebook, and right now, because I have a new marketing company, we're transitioning the page that we're operating from right now. I can't change the name over until February the 2nd. So, and that will become, you know, art underscore etiquette, you know, so that's where I am right now. So that's how you can reach out to me through, but my style matters 365 right now, but it will be changing February the 2nd.
All right, awesome, awesome. I'll make sure once that I'll take all that information, I'll tag you here and post it. Everybody keep following you and supporting your mission because it is super amazing. You know, I myself have watched that video several times, you know, and just seeing so proud and just also making me look at my little man too. Like I just can't wait till he gets old and really teaching him what it takes to be a true gentleman in this world, and leaving a piece of my legacy with him, so that he can grow up and continue what's going on, do the same thing with his kids, because we got to break the cycle. You know, we
You
have
got to
to
break.
break that cycle, and really show them what it is and be there. And I've been, like I said, doing this show for some time, and I'm so grateful that I've been introduced to a lot of men who've been doing the same thing, but also preaching that and really working their best to break that cycle. So I feel that we are definitely moving in the right direction, especially for our culture. Um,
Right.
so as we wind it down here for you, man, Mr. Levins, man, I got two last questions for you. So,
Right.
number one, right, for you, what do you feel has been the best advice you received in your life?
Well, first of all, you had said something, and that I am to a lot of young men, is that I never had a mentor. So a lot of this has been self-discovery for me and making a lot of mistakes. So one of the things that I guess I could say I overheard, I wouldn't say that it was directed to me, was, you know, basically never give in, give 100%, man. And that's what I do. I never quit. I never quit in this process. You know, so again, like I told you in the beginning with the whole homelessness stuff, and I promise to God and my daughter, and it was to stand. So definitely never give in, never give in.
No, that's so important too, man. And that's something that I've been teaching my daughter as well too, is that, you know, she's been doing soccer things and wants to quit when things get hard or gets all frustrated and give up. I'm like, in my house right now, the words can't and I give up don't exist.
Don't. That's what's
You know what I
up.
mean? Like I tell her right now, like if she says can't, like she'll catch up. And I'll look at her dead and stop her right in the tracks. We don't say can't. We, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
something's hard, we need help. We can ask for help. You know, we
Mm-hmm.
can look for other things to do or create different things, but we don't give up and we don't say can't because we could do anything that we put our minds to. You know, and I've been reading like a lot of development things and really starting to understand how powerful a positive mindset can be. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Like if you have a positive mindset, nothing's gonna stop you. But if you go in things with negative attitude, you already lost.
Yep. All day. That's the winner.
You know, so I definitely preach that to her. So, and I know you're doing the whole thing with the art of etiquette and teaching these young kids that and stuff. But now everything that you've been, like you said, if you're being self-taught and all these things being important to you, what is one piece of advice that you would offer the next generation of these younger kids so that they can prepare themselves?
Well, one of the things that I would do, because I did it, and it's simply change your thinking, change your life. You know, you can think this way now, but you can alter that thought by making better choices. So change your thinking, you change your life. That's pretty much what I share with them a lot. You know,
You know, and that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate the time. And again, when I put this down, I'll make sure I tag you, your website on stuff, because I definitely want people to go to you to buy that book because the more books we can get these in the hands of these kids, the better we're going to be and definitely leave a lasting impact on them, you know, having the proper etiquette, proper manners, and really, like we said, just breaking the cycle because that's the goal.
absolutely. Yes, sir. Indeed. Break the cycle. And, you know, sisters, you know, let me apologize for me and for a lot of other brothers, you know, but you guys got to understand too, at some point, you got to raise up. I mean, these are choices that we both made, but you got to know the choice you make with the man you with. You know what I'm saying? I ain't perfect, but I'm trying to be the best man I can be, not only for me, but for my community. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, believing in us, and I know a lot of you may say, yeah, I believed in my man, and I did this. I know I'm kind of deviating, but we got to work together, man. We got to break this vicious cycle because our kids are hurting with the division of mother and father. Man, look, I give my ex-wife mad love because she's a great mom to our daughter. I mean, fantastic. You know what I'm saying? We co-parented through that situation. You know, it wasn't easy for us. You know, a lot of things happen in the separation and divorce, but when it came to our daughter, man, hey, we was locked in. It was she got it, you know, and the best that we could, you know, at that time. So life is a trip, but you know, let's just break this vicious cycle and and work to build our kids to be great and speak life into them. You know, don't always try to break them because you talking about them because you're going through what you're going through. It's not their fault. They can't change it. You know what I'm saying? They can't put money in your pocket unless you teach them how to become an entrepreneur young and or put them in a position if they're creative or if they have this talent, position them to be great, then they can possibly help you later. If you ain't gonna be able to get there, they can. So that's my whole soapbox.
Well, nah, man. Again, well, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you sitting down and talking to me, man. It's just been a wonderful conversation. I definitely want us to definitely stay in contact. I got a couple of people who I work very closely with who have their own missions that are pretty big around here who actually said they wanted to meet you and really do and connect with you. So I'm gonna get y'all linked up too to do some wonderful things because part of his mission, right, that he does is really promoting against gun violence, especially talking to the youth and stuff like that. And he has a daughter out there in Atlanta. So I know he's out there every once in a while
I'm
too. So I
here,
said,
man.
listen, I'm gonna link y'all up. I'm gonna link y'all up.
Please do. Please do. I look forward to it, man. I think that the more, man, let me tell you, I work with another organization called kingstreet.com. It's for the community, but I'm working with brothers, man, and it's nothing. I ain't taking nothing from sisters, but right now, brothers got to come together and do something incredibly positive to change the way our community is looking, the way our homes are. I mean, all of this, man. So I look forward to working with Black men for that matter, but Black men especially, man, so that we could figure this thing out and be a better resource to one another other than, you know, putting each other down or figuring out how I'm going to take what's yours. No, brother, if I can help you, let me help you, but don't come in and count my money. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand my value and your value. If you want to get there, allow me to help you get there, but I ain't trying to take advantage of you, but we just got to break this vicious cycle and thought process that we have when it comes to helping one another and supporting each other, man. It's, just because you gave me the money for the book and I become successful, but I'm helping kids, man. This ain't all about me just being successful. I love the fact that I get to show the kids that they saw their teacher at this point, and now their teacher's doing this, and then he's coming back and reaching back, supplying them with what they need to be great. That's my mission. Simple as that.
No, and definitely, and the impact that you're leaving on them too, because like you said, they're gonna see somebody, from where they are, from their neighborhood, what they're doing, and accomplishing so much more success. It makes it more believable for them. Like, it is possible. I seen him do it. I can do it too. And really leave that impression on it. So, I mean, continue doing what you're doing, man. It's a beautiful thing, man. I wish you nothing but success. And many, many blessings, man. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. And I always tell everybody out there, no matter who you are, no matter what you've done, your big brother loves you. Stay blessed, everybody.
Right on.
Appreciate you.